All right, so take two. Let's start again. Make any little wiggles and movements in your body here for a moment to settle. And from there, as you come to a pause, bring one hand to your belly center and the other hand also to the belly center, connecting to this center point of the body, this place of power, of engagement. Then allow your eyes to soften, either partway down or fully closed. Checking in what's most comfortable for you. And take in a deep, full breath through your nose if available. If you're congested, breathe through your mouth. Slowly exhale your breath out through the mouth as if you were blowing out through a straw. Inhale again, deep, full breath. Draw the lips together. Exhale as if you were blowing out through a straw. One more time, breath in. And take a moment here as you stand simply to be aware what's going on in your physical body this afternoon. Any places that feel more tense, more open. And also acknowledging what you're aware of in your mind. If you're very busy in the mind, lots of thoughts, or if there's more space or somewhere in between, acknowledging what's going on there. And as you stay conscious of body, of mind, release your hands down. Start to deepen your breath as you inhale more fully. Sweep your palms up to the sky, arms lift as well, just a bit. With the exhale, bend at your elbows as if you were wiping away tension. Float the palms and forearms down. Inhale again, lift the arms forward, palms and forearms face you. Exhale to trace down. A few rounds, start cultivating a deeper breath, diaphragmatic breath, fully alive and expansive. Every time you take in air, envision the lungs expanding with oxygen. That creates a little push out of the belly. With the exhale, as the lungs push out air, the belly draws in just a little bit. A few more rounds with this breath and motion. Let the breath rise to your ribs as well, the collarbones. And final cycle here, inhale, the arms rise your own speed. This time with the exhale, take your time, palms touch in front of your heart center, or take one hand to heart center, then the other hand on top of that. And take a moment to create focus, intentionality for your practice this afternoon. It could be around this idea of supporting your nervous system for healing, for rejuvenation, for connection, for bolstering. If that doesn't fully resonate with you, feel free to set a focus that really works and supports you in your own life. And to honor this focus, each other's company, gently bow head to heart. Slowly release your arms down, reawaken your gaze. Invite a few little shoulder rolls here, up, back, and down. Roll your shoulders in the opposite direction, up, forward, and down. Stay with the breath. From there, gently pause, shoulders at ease at your back body. Inhale to circle the arms up to the sky. With the exhalation, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Take your hands onto your thighs. Press the sitting bones back, collarbones broad, heart forward for a little cow stretch. Exhale to back off the bend of your knees. Scoop, round in, lift your palms, chin towards sternum. Work with your breath. Inhale to press back. Open. Exhale to round. A few more cycles moving with the breath and the motion. Final cycle to coil in your body and round. This time with the inhale, straighten through your legs. Sweep the arms back up to the sky. With exhale, lean over to the right side. One hand to hip, other arm overhead. Inhale back through middle. Exhale, opposite side. Stretch to the side of your ribs. Inhale through center. Exhale, opposite side. Or same side, rather. Moving to the same side. With the inhale, rise back up through center. Exhale, opposite side this time. Right arm up and over. Move with your breath. Inhale through center. Exhale, back over. A few more rounds, your own rhythm and breath here. Focus on length. One more time to the left side. Inhale to lift back up through center, both arms high. With the exhalation, lower your hands down. Take your feet together. Heels can be a little apart. And from here, bend the knees just a little bit. Hands come onto your knees. Create a few circular motions here for the joints. So getting a little bit of synovial fluid, joint fluid to awaken. Circle in the opposite direction. Gradually pause. Feel free to re-separate your feet, hip distance or wider if that's more comfortable. And invite hands to hips, a few circular motions here with your hips. Circle in the opposite direction. Gradually pause back at center space. Inhale to sweep the arms just to center, interlace their hands, and create little wrist circles flowing down towards the legs. Unlace here, little starbursts with the fingers. Inhale again, sweep the arms center. Interlace your fingers the opposite way from before. Circle, even try to circle in the opposite way. The brain might be challenged a little bit by that, so honoring that. And from there, release little starbursts. Pause there. Inhale to lengthen to the top of your head. With exhale, lean your ear over to the left side. Gradually release, chin down to center. Inhale again over to the opposite side, coordinating the breath here. Exhale, down through center, over to the opposite side for your inhale. Out breath to lower down. Again, flowing down through center over to the left. And this time, as you flow down through center to the right side, create a full circle, but super mindful. So the head is not leaning way back. We don't want the weight of the head onto the cervical spine. So create full circles here. The lean back is very, very slight. Take your time next time you're on the right side, reverse, flowing down. Over to the left, honoring if you're noticing tension in one part of your neck or shoulder compared to the other. And final round here. When you find your head down at center, pause. Use an inhaling breath to return back to center. Exhale to ground. Feel free to make any little movements with your feet. On the inhale, sweep the arms back up to the sky. This time with the exhale, hands to heart center, rotate your ribs over to the right side. Gentle twist. Inhale through middle. Exhale, opposite side. So as best you can, hips stay towards center. It's fine if they move somewhat, but focusing the movement more on your ribs. And acknowledge the range of motion here. So it might not even be a lot of range, which is totally fine. One more time to each side. Check in with your mind and your attention. If you find that you're somewhere else in a different thought stream, opportunity to come back to this moment as you pause at middle space. Inhale to lift, palms rise up to the sky. With the exhalation, bend at your knees, hands to center, hinge and fold right into forward bend. Bend your knees here for low back and hamstring support. And take the hands, if it's available, for a little bit more traction to opposite elbows. Relax through your head, your neck, your mouth, your jaw. If this is too intense, bring the hands either to your shins or to the floor. Gradually release your hands if they're clasped on your inhale. Lengthen halfway up into a little L shape. Again, knees can be as bent as you need. With the exhalation, fold back down to the earth. Grab your two blocks or props for support. If they're not there, simply use your hands to frame your front foot and step your right foot back behind. Lower your back knee down to the ground. From here, add a little bit of movement. Inhale to draw forward towards your front leg. With the exhalation, back off. Front leg moves to your degree of straightening. Moving back and forth. Inhale through center. Exhale back. Continue these explorative motions a few rounds. If your back knee needs more support, please use your blanket or double up your mat to add a little bit of cushion there. Final cycle here for this movement. Next time you come forward, pause with your front knee in line with your ankle below. Back toes can curl or they can also uncurl. It's really based on comfort. With inhale, rise up, torso in line with your hips. Arms rise to the sky. Deep full breath. Stay here with your lower body. With the exhalation, take your left hand to the mid and upper back. Right hand comes onto your left elbow. Gentle tug of the elbow towards you, then also press your elbow into the palm of your hand. Finding the place of balance for you in the stretch. One more inhale. With exhale, gradually lower both hands to floor or props. Inhale to lift, back knee high. With exhale, take your time, as many steps as you need. Come up to the front edge of your place, forward bend. Inhale to lift and lengthen halfway up. With exhalation, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Inner leg stays super strong. Use an inhale to lift off the bend of your knees, lift the arms. Coming towards center, exhale, bend your knees, shift back. Again, inner leg strong, adductors active for chair pose. Inhale to lift. Exhale to sink. With your inhaling breath, rise back up through middle space, arms lift. Exhale to release your hands down to your low back. Elbows mirror each other, so as if you were closing a gate. As best you can, have them even out. Feet root, lift up and out of the center body. Start to lean gently back behind. Tip the chin to the sky, gentle baby back bend. So very little torque on the low back here. Move more from your mid and upper back. Stay with the breath. One more inhale. Exhale to return back through center. Hinge at your hips. Hands trace the front line of your legs, flowing all the way down into a forward fold. Inhale to elongate, halfway rise. Exhale to fold back down to the ground, blocks or floor. Hands land as you step your opposite foot, left foot back behind. Lower your back knee down to the ground. Take your time, same movement as before. Inhale to shift forward, your own range of motion. Exhale to draw back. Moving with your own breath and rhythm. Make sure to protect your back knee if it needs a little bit more cushion. Moving at your own speed. And final cycle here. As you come forward, pause. Your front knee in line with your ankle below. If your back knee needs a break, you can always take a little moment to lift it, then to lower back down. With inhale, rise up torso, arms to the sky, ribs in line with your hips. Feel elongation as you ground through your legs and extend to the sky. One more inhale. With exhale, keep the lower body steady. Take your right hand to your mid and upper back. Left hand comes to your elbow. It's a very gentle tug in towards you. At the same time, press your elbow back into your palm. You might feel your tricep fire up a little here for the stretch. Use a breath in to extend your arms to the sky. Exhale, lower your hands down to your blocks or the floor. Inhale to lift, back knee high. Take as many steps as you need. Come up back to the front edge of your space in forward fold. Inhale to lift and elongate halfway up. With exhale, bend your knees, shift the weight back behind. Again, little floating motion. Inhale to back off the bend of your knees, arms rise. Exhale to sink. Inhale to lift. You can stay in this up and down motion a few more rounds. If you're wanting just a little bit more sensation and heat, next time you sink down, pause your own degree. You can also back off the bend of the sink. Arms come out in front, relax to your head, your neck. A few rounds to sustain. If your low back is in tension here in chair pose, create just a little bit of a scoop through your tail. So you're lessening the low back curve just a little bit. Stay with the breath. So this opportunity to build a little bit of heat and fire, but invite the nervous system to stay in a state of calm through the deep breath and through mindful awareness. Inhale to root and rise back up to center. Hands return to your low back, elbows mirror, anchor into your feet. With inhale, lift up and out of your waist. Start to lean from the mid and upper back, gently behind. Chin can tip upwards to the sky. Stay aware of your neck. Gentle baby back bend. One more inhale breath. With the exhale, return your low back to a neutral place. Step up to the front edge of your space if you're not already there. Take a deep breath in. Open mouth exhale, let it go, releasing any tension. And from there again, deep, full breath. With the exhalation, hands come to your hips, step your right foot back behind you, and take time. Spin your toes to 45 degrees, 90 degrees to the side edge of your space. Begin to open your waistline a little bit to the wide edge of your mat as well. Start to sink into your front leg. You might need to adjust for a wider stance, so check in what feels best in your body. Ideally keeping the front knee in line with the ankle below, so adjust if you're going way over. Stay there, warrior two legs. With inhale, expand your arms towards T position. Gaze out to your left fingertips, if that's comfortable for your neck. If your back hip feels any tension, take your back leg out wider in your space, and that will help out with that theoretically. Check in that works in your body. From here, start to invite the wrist circles back into the motion here. Gradually pause. Use your next inhale to straighten through your front leg. Back hand either dips behind or lands on your hip. Top arm rises up and over. Stretch back in a side body stretch here. From the front toes all the way to the top fingertips. Envision a line of stretch here. One more inhale. Exhale to return back. Sink into your front thigh again, your own degree. Lower your left forearm onto your front leg. Keep the left shoulder super buoyant. With the inhale, right arm either rises to the sky or it can extend out anywhere in this range, exploring. Keep the inner legs active as if you were hugging a huge block or beach ball. Deep breathing. If your neck is tender, look to center or to the ground. Use an inhale to rise back up through center space. Pivot your feet. Feel free to adjust your stance for comfort. Toes go out at about a 45-degree angle, heels in. Sink into the center of your body. Move with the breath. Inhale to extend up. Exhale to sink down, wide squat. One more time to work with movement, with breath. With the inhale, arms rise to the sky, keep the legs straight. Exhale, release your hands down. And take time to adjust opposite side. Right foot turns forward, left foot either 45, 90, anywhere in that spectrum. Take your leg out wider for hip support. Inhale to expand the arms. With the exhale, sink into your front leg for warrior two pose. Gaze can be out in front. This time around on this side, adjust your fingers to face the sky as if you were pressing two strong walls on both of your hands. Press out and create a little stretch there. Use your inhale, straighten through your front leg. With exhale, back hand dips or hand to hip, top arm up and over, stretch out through your side body here. Lengthen, expand. Breathe space into your ribs. And check in, where's your attention? If you're somewhere else, again, not a big deal, just an opportunity to come back. One more breath here. Exhale to re-sink into your front leg. Lower your right forearm to your thigh. Create length through the side body, right shoulder, keeping that sweep your arm skyward. Or explore any of the angles here along the way. Stay with the breath. Keep your inner legs strong. Inhale to rise back up through center space. Repivot your feet 45 degrees out with the toes. Inhale to sweep. Arms rise to the sky. With exhale, sink into your legs. Your own degree, how far you sink down here. Plant your hands onto your thighs. In breath to lengthen from your low back to the top of your head. With the exhale, let your left shoulder lead the way. Start to rotate and twist over to the right. Inhale through center. Exhale over to the side. Opposite side. Gentle twisting motion. Slow it down. Work with your breath. So often, because we're doing things quite fast in life and there's so much to do, our movements are fast as well. And that's a communication to the nervous system. So what happens if you slow it down just a little bit? One more time to visit each side. If this is too intense for the lower body, always back off the bend of your knees. With the inhale, returning back through center. Exhale, sink a little lower, final round. Inhale to lift back up through center, arm sweep. Optional audible exhale, little to release down. And from there, bring your feet to a closer stance. Shift the weight over to your right foot. Have a gaze down on the earth to support you. With the inhale, lift your heel off of the ground. So this could be where you're at today, just playing with a little bit of tap dance. Foot off the ground for a moment to test out your balance. So honor that. Next progression is to lift the knee towards hip height. Again, this might be a beautiful place to pause for you today. Next evolution is to play with the arms. And from there, if you're feeling very steady, you can start to play with your gaze. Take your gaze to center or to the sky. So finding the place that works for you, where's your building spot for balance today? One more inhale. Exhale to lower. Honor the heat on your leg here. And switch sides. Left foot anchors, hands to hips. Gaze point is your foundation. And start to play. It might be the tap dance. Or maybe it's the next layer of floating your knee, adding the arms. So check in where you're wanting to take this side of the pose. If you've locked out through your standing left leg, your knees locked, create just a little bit of a micro bend. So we want your calf and your quad, your hamstrings to awaken in the balance. If you fall out, no big deal, just come back. A few more rounds here. Inhale, breath. Exhale to release your foot, honoring any heat. In breath to sweep. Arms rise to the sky. With exhale, lower your hands through center space. Fold down to the ground. And from here, super mindful. Take your time. Slowly step one foot back, one knee down, then the other foot back, other knee down. Coming to tabletop position. And once more, you can double up your mat, or this is where a blanket can come in handy if your knees are a little bit more sensitive. Take your hands underneath of your shoulders or a little wider, knees wider or at hip distance. And from there, in breath, to tip your tail back, collarbone broads forward, cow stretch. Exhale to coil in, round cat stretch. And take a few rounds here. See if you can soften the eyes once more. Move with your breath, your rhythm. Allow your body to drink in the movements of standing, a little bit more heated for some. Stay with the breath here. 3 more rounds at your pace. Next cycle, when you find yourself in the cow stretch coming forward, use your exhaling breath to return your low back to neutral. Inhale, sweep your left fingertips and arms to the sky. With your exhalation, take as much time as you need here. Thread your left forearm behind your right as you twist your whole torso to the right side. Lay your head down, your shoulder down. If this is not super comfortable, you can use an additional prop to fill in any space underneath the shoulder or your head. And stay here in the twist a few rounds. You can move your right hand anywhere, it can be out in front. You can also lift it to the sky or wrap it to your left hip back behind. We're focusing most on the rotation of your torso, finding a place of ease as you stay with your breath. And if your right hand is in a different location, gradually place it back down to support the release here. Root down, inhale to rise, stretch left fingertips to the sky first. And with the exhalation, lower your palm down. Inhale, opposite side, right arm extends to the sky, ribs follow. Exhale, thread forearm behind forearm. Take your time. This side might be tighter or more open. Rest onto the shoulder, your head. Make any little adjustments and movements to get comfortable here. Rotation through your spine, your ribs. Your breath can become softer, but still let it be intentional. Relax any holding through your mouth, your jaw, unnecessary tension melting away. And if your left hand has traveled elsewhere, bring it back to support you for the release. Root down. Use an inhaling breath to rise back up. Arm stretches first. With the exhalation, release your hand down. Take a moment or two here to adjust your hips to one side. Extend your legs out in front. Hands come back behind to support you. Press your toes forward. Make any little wiggles here with the toes. Add some circles for your ankles as well. Squeeze through the toes. Reverse opposite direction. From there, pause, bend your knees. Take your feet a little bit wider, almost to your mat width if you have a mat, otherwise just wider than hip distance apart. Inhale to lengthen. With exhale, start to windmill the knees one direction. Inhale, opposite side, other direction. If this is too intense for your hips, bring the feet closer together. So that's going to de-intensify. If you're not feeling enough, then take the feet wider apart. That's going to create a little bit more stretch for you. A few more cycles here. Windshield wipers to release any tension from the low back, sacrum. Release the hips a little bit. And gradually, with a soft breath in, knees to center, pause here. Adjust your props, so anything that you need with you that you have, move it towards the back edge of your space so it's within arm's reach. With knees bent, inhale to lift and lengthen. With exhale, use the strength of your core, slowly recline all the way back onto the earth. Keep your knees bent, arms by the side of your body. Adjust your feet about 5 to 6 inches away from your sitting bones, feet hip distance apart. Root down into the support of your feet, your arms, even your head and shoulders. On the inhale, gentle lift of the center body, squeeze through your glutes, lifting just a bit. So finding your range of motion for bridge pose. Exhale to lower back down towards the ground, sitting bones land. With the inhale, again, lift hips and pelvis towards the sky. Exhale to lower. You can stay in this up and down motion, or if you're wanting a little bit more fire and heat, next time you lift up, pause in the bridge pose. If you have a block near you or something like a block, a book, you can also use that to lower onto the block with your sacrum and take a supported bridge pose. So your choice. If you're sustaining bridge, release it at your own time, either back to a flow or to a pause. One more final inhalation wherever you're at. And if you're using a prop for support, slowly remove it to the side, land back down to the earth. Take a moment to notice, to feel. From here, with the feet still on the ground, take your right ankle to your left thigh, create just below the knee, creating a figure 4 here. For many people, this is plenty of stretch. Stay right there. If you're not feeling enough, lift your left foot off of the earth, see what that does. From there, next exploration, right hand through the window opening, left hand comes to your hamstring, or if you need even more stretch, to the top of your left knee. If this is not doing much in your body, start to use just a little bit of arm strength to tug your legs, both legs towards you. At the same time, start to press your legs equally away from you, and that will generate more sensation. You can also play with that with the hands behind your hamstring as well. So keeping that little bit of tension, tug towards you, tug away from you. A few rounds here for figure 4 pose. Deep connected breaths. And continue to check in with any unnecessary tension in your facial muscles. So sometimes the slower parts of the practice can actually be the ones that are more challenging for the mind with that added spaciousness. You find yourself drifting off, bring the focus back. One more inhale. And with your exhalation, gently release. Take a moment with both feet off of the earth, hands behind your hamstrings. Lift your legs to the sky just to give the knees a little bit of a break from the bend. Point your toes upwards, bend your knees, micro bend them as much as you need for hamstrings. Make any little movements. With an exhalation, release both of your feet back down, then adjust your left ankle to right thigh below your knee. Check in how this side of the body is. Either stay here or explore. Foot off the ground, left hand threads to the window opening. Hands clasped on top of the right knee. Finding the sweet spot here for your stretch. Remember that any little Movements, explorations while in the pose are very welcome. Does not have to be static and still. A few more rounds of deep breath here. Stay aware of how your stretch evolves as you remain in it. With your exhaling breath, gradually release both of the feet down to the ground. Take your arms out to the side of your space, either in a T position. If you don't have that much room around you, bend one elbow at a time to create a little cactus arm or goalpost position. Inhale, deep breath. With the exhalation, start to move both of your knees over to the right side for a gentle twist. If there's any, or if there's lots of tension through the twist, know that you can always use your blanket or any prop that you have handy and place something in between both of your legs here to add a little bit of support. As best you can, keep your left shoulder grounded on the earth. You can also place a prop underneath of your knee, the right knee, if both of your legs are quite lifted and that's creating too much effort. So the intention for this is to be more on the relaxing side. Passive twist, let gravity do the work as opposed to your muscles. You can keep your chin to the sky, or if you want to explore a stretch in your neck, feel free to rotate your head to the left side of your space. And very gradually use a breath in to lift your knees to center. You can keep the prop there or remove it, adjust, and slowly explore twisting both of your knees to the opposite side. Right shoulder stays anchored on the ground. And take time here. Feel free to keep your head at center or rotate it. Send the breath to any parts of your posture that feel overly tense. And use your breath as an anchor point, as an ally to come back to. Continuing to honor this time that you've carved out to be in your body, be in your breath, and create some restoration for your whole system. And very slowly on an inhale, take your time, lift your knees back up through center, readjust your sacrum and low back so they're feeling like they're centered and neutral. From there, bend both of your knees towards you, hands behind your hamstrings. Take again a moment to stretch your feet to the sky. Knees can be in a micro bend just to relieve any tension from the knee flexion. One more breath. Use an exhale. With the knees towards you, open your knees to the right and left, feet to the sky. The angle will vary depending on what's happening in your inner groin. Place your hands to the calves to begin. If you can keep the low back on the floor, feel free to explore taking your hands higher up to your ankles or feet. But you can get just ample amount of stretch here with hands on calves. Even the hands can be lower down towards your back of your knee. Create just a little bit of traction if you need more stretch with the legs towards the earth, then press the feet skyward in a little bit of resistance for happy baby pose. You can remain static in this place, or if it's soothing for you, feel free to rock a little from right to left, staying aware of your spinal column. One more final breath in. With your exhalation, release your legs long onto the ground. Take one final stretch here, full body stretch. Inhale to extend your arms above the top of your head. Press your toes forward, your fingertips away from your legs. Open to your mouth, your jaw, your ribs. Lots of elongation. Deep inhale. With your out breath, slowly relax your arms by the side of your ribs and make your preparations here for your final resting posture. If your low back is tender, find something to put underneath of your knees. You can also bend the knees fully and make any adjustments, cover up with any layers. If you have something to cover up your eyes with, go ahead and do that. Taking time to fully receive your practice here. And once you've adjusted onto your space, allow your whole body to settle and sink into the ground. Release any tension through the toes, even the space in between your toes. And relax your ankles and calves, the tops of your knees, as well as the softer tissue underneath of each knee. Allow your hamstrings and quadriceps to unfurl, to be at ease. Abdominal muscles soften. Low back spacious. Release any tension from your ribs, upper shoulders. Let go of holding through your palms and forearms, upper arms. Relax through mouth, jaw. The ears and forehead soften. Full permission to be here and relax and receive your practice. If the mind is a little agitated still, feel free to anchor your attention to your breath, belly center, or tips of nostrils, simply observing the breath and coming back to it. And I'll guide you out of this in a few minutes. Simply be. And very gradually become more aware of your body as you rest. And take in a deep, deep, full breath. Open your mouth and slowly let the breath go. Invite in some waking motions with your eyelids, facial muscles, ankles, wrists. And take any other little stretches or Any other movements in your body here to awaken? And with a soft inhale, bring your knees to center. Roll over to one side in a fetal position. And from this place of gratitude for your body, find a way to rise back up. Take a supportive seat. Feel free to use a prop to uplift your spine, creating length. Eyes either partway closed or fully closed. And once you've settled into your seat, draw either your palms to touch in front of heart center, or one hand flat at heart and the other hand on top of that. And take a moment here to observe anything that you are aware of that shifted in your body or your breath pattern, your mind, even your emotional state. And to acknowledge yourself for carving out this time, each other's company here, even in the virtual world, and this ability that we have to be intentional about movement, about breath, to also reap the rewards on a nervous system level, to hopefully be more integrated, more calm, yet energized and awake. To that place, gently bow your head to your own heart, acknowledging your wisdom, your strength, your dedication. Namaste. And take your time to transition back into your world. Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. If you have any questions, I'll be on the chat for a little bit longer.